Good day, everyone. I'm Dr. Herman Lagon of Ateneo de Iloilo Santa Maria Catholic School. So I'm here today to share to you four of the many research initiatives that we had for the past 2 to 3 years. And we entitled this sharing as Instructional Analysis and Decision Making using Google Forms. We know that data-driven decision making is one instructional leadership approach that hopes to make the teaching learning process in school more efficient and effective, more so in the context of the new normal. The challenge here is how to gather enough data to make an informed decision, especially decisions that can affect students, parents, teachers, and all the other stakeholders in school. So we thought, why not make it institutional using Google Forms? So Google Forms, as we all know, is a survey administration application that is included in the Google Drive suite and Google Classroom, along with Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides. The Google Forms features all of the collaboration and sharing features found in Docs, Sheets, and Slides. We use the school's email system to deploy the questionnaires, making it convenient and efficient for us. To give you context, since this is an Ateneo school, we follow the Ignatian pedagogical paradigm. And we also follow and use the Understanding by Design tool in the design of our curriculum. In our research procedures, we follow the Data Matters framework. It's a framework that outlines the capacities and structures that educators need to effectively use data to advance learning and practice. So this is the cycle that we follow in gathering the data and making sense out of it. Now, for the four research initiatives that we would like to share to you, we follow the descriptive and inferential analysis, where we use the typical statistical tools. And the surveys through Google were done from November 2018 to March 2021. Now, these are the four instruments that we use: the SETI survey, the PAI survey, school culture typology, and the school culture survey. Then we have the following respondents, all the policies and protocols we try to follow. Now, the SETI survey is a student evaluation of teachers' instruction. So we give this to students, and then the students analyze it following the five-part 33-item instrument. Using 5-point Likert scale, we're able to identify the highlighted areas where the teachers are doing good and the areas that they need to improve. The other instrument is called performance appraisal instrument, a two-part 30-item instrument, which covers professional competence and personal character using a 6-point Likert scale. Then the other two are the school culture typology instrument and the school culture survey instrument. So the SCT instrument is a 12-factor 6 typology point allocation matrix instrument where the different stakeholders of the school also try to fill out. And then the school culture survey is a 6-part 35-item instrument with a Likert scale as its gauge, and professional development, collaborative leadership, teacher collaboration, collegial support, and unity of purpose as its areas. We can only imagine if we are talking about hundreds and thousands of respondents, and these are the questions and items that are given to them. That the number of papers to be printed out, the numbers of persons that you need to follow up and to coordinate with. In this case, because we use Google Form, we just simply emailed it to them. Then they responded, and then we tried to curate the data and analyze it. Maybe just a quick preview on what the results were. In the SETI survey, we realized that in terms of student participation, we still need to work on that. That's affirmed later in the succeeding research results. But this one affirms also that we are very good, in fact, excellent in the students' context in terms of knowledge of the subject and clarity of presentation. We're talking about teachers' performance in the eyes of the students. Also, from the same instrument, it appears that we really need to work on the cura personalis, or the personal care to our students, because it says here that although 4.20 is still relatively high, but that's the lowest in the areas here. Getting help from the teacher when experiencing difficulty. So by the way, this instrument we have shared also to our teachers through our research summit and through our PLCs per program, affirming the areas that we need to work on. And by the way, this is not included in their PAI, but the raw result we give to the teachers for them to reflect over. We also share it to their respective subject area coordinators for them to look into and then work on their supervisory program. So the data here is not included in the performance appraisal, but it's part of the formative development of the teacher concerned. The result also showed that those that we feel that we need to work on more are also indeed low in the assessment of students. And so eventually we ask them to leave. It's not because of this, but at least this one triangulated the assessment already of our supervisors and our peers, our teachers. Then it also shows that there's a significant difference between regular teachers and pro-B teachers, master faculty and associate faculty, and teachers in grade school and senior high school. By the way, we only asked grade 6 up to grade 12 students to participate in this research. Then there's also no significant difference between teachers with master's and no master's degrees, senior associate faculty, and controversially, those who major in education and those who don't major in education but already got their LET. Also, the data shows that the result of SETI survey and the performance appraisal of the teachers, because the performance appraisal is being filled out by the supervisors, the top-level administrators, and by the peer and by the self. So all put it together, the results showed that there's a moderate positive correlation between the two results. And that's somehow good to know that the two instruments are trying to jive with each other. And it shows also that the areas for improvement will be on the student feedback. This also resonates with the previous result. And then the areas to celebrate have to do with the ethical use of social media and demonstration of the knowledge of the subject matter, which is also consistent with the previous data. Now let's proceed to the school culture typology. The school culture typology is divided into 6 cultures: toxic, fragmented, balkanized, contrived collegiality, comfortable collaboration, and collaborative school culture. And it shows here clearly that somehow the school is a normal Ateneo school. It's leaning towards contrived, comfortable, and collaborative culture, but there are items and categories where we need to work more. For example, issue on trust. Then also we realize that there are many areas that we are affirmed so much: collegial awareness, decision-making, risk-taking, openness, also communication, socialization, and organizational unity. Now, also, it's clear that we are moving towards collaborative culture, but there are items under contrived collegiality and comfortable collegiality. Most teachers assume responsibility in helping new teachers adjust in school, and there are warm conversations among stakeholders, and it permeates in school. Many are open to and looking for new ideas, although not exactly perfect. And they help, support, and they're open to each other. The teachers are aggressively curious about teaching and learning. So these are the results from the school culture typology. Also, to add, there's a need to work more on the issue on trust. As you can see in the matrix kanina, this includes dealing and working with fellow teachers and parents. The school leaders encourage teachers to give each other advice without being too critical. Decision-making and organizational history are two of the items in the survey that really showed overwhelmingly positive results. The school culture survey, on the other hand, shows that the community strongly agrees on the level of professional development in school. That high sense of unity and purpose that is also consistent with the school typology result. And having one collective effort working towards common mission. The area to look into and maybe to reflect over are collaborative leadership, teacher collaboration, collegial support, and learning partnership. So those are the areas that's still something to look into and work on. So what are the recommendations out of those 4 data? Improve trust, the teacher, parent, and teacher administrator dynamics even. Then the parent-teacher collaboration is very important. It was recommended also reward system for teachers. So what are the benefits of Google Forms? Now, after that example, the 4 different areas. So one is efficient, accurate collection of data. That is very obvious. Functional also, most especially during the pandemic. Very, very functional and essential. There's no printing cost and there's no software expense. So we can use freely the Google Form. It's compatible with the Google system and interface. It's also compatible with our program. We call our transition program contextualized blended learning program. It is very consistent with that. It's also compatible with our email system. Very intuitive. The platform is very intuitive. The interface is easy to design and to adjust. The tool and the process is respondent and researcher friendly. Immediate feedback and recording is guaranteed, no? Because it's automatic. It also reduces the carbon footprint, and it also saves valuable man hours. So the obvious recommendation to schools, if you don't have any institutional system yet in gathering data, I think in our experience, we can safely say that Google Forms is a good option for you to consider as your official research survey and assessment platform. No, it's important for us to have an official platform so that everyone will get used to it and it will just be easy. The flow will just be easy in terms of data gathering. And this fits in terms of school consultation, no, non-face-to-face school consultation, surveys in terms of their opinion, especially in school matters, performance appraisal, evaluation of teachers' instruction, anecdotal inquiries, formative and summative assessment, not just for the usual academic test, but also still for data gathering for decision making, still in data gathering for decision making, evaluation of activities, student council club elections, we also do that, events registration, comparative analysis of data, experimental research, qualitative investigation, census, we can do that, triangulation or validation of data, quick polls, for example, or sign-up sheets for seminars, conferences, or meetings, daily check-ins, health check, for example, contact forms, no, for COVID, no, order forms, feedbacking, work requests, or course or book evaluation, party or activity invitation, anecdotal reviews, and then remote interviews using Google Forms. So just recently, these are the research works that we had using Google Forms. So we did our student and teacher motivation practices and experiences survey. So a study on the school need, supportive practices and its outcomes and antecedents, the Ateneo de Iloilo context. Of course, this is the study of Father Jao, our former president, and we conducted it also in school. So the data we gathered, we gave it to Father Jao, and Father Jao analyzed the data and presented it to us thereafter. We also use Google Forms in our STEP 2021 conference. We also use the Google Forms for our series of surveys for our contextualized blended learning program. So we had a lot last school year just to make sure that whatever we decide, whatever we design, or whatever learning program that we use during the pandemic, it's something that will somehow respond to the need of our stakeholders. Then we also use the same tool for guidance and counseling needs of our junior high school students, the SETI survey or 5-year analysis of SETI survey of professional development needs in the new normal for the design of the faculty and staff development program. We also did linear projection of transferees grade as alternative to entrance testing. We conducted correlation analysis of STEM students and say scholastic aptitude, track preference, occupational interest, and senior school academic performance. Then we also did survey analysis of the school's institutional plan. The Reinventing Education Amid the Pandemic survey in cooperation with Thames, and Engage Citizenship survey for voters registration. Then the effect of our Attract program on the senior high school students, the Philippine Catholic Standards Survey, the Card and Feedback Day surveys for parents and teachers. We also had a How Ignatian Are We survey using the characteristics of Jesuit education, and the PASCO surveys and evaluation of activities. Now, I would like to leave you with 3 reflection questions. What bothers or excites you as you hear the sharing of the maximization of Google Form platform in Ateneo de Iloilo, at least in our context? How is this sharing helpful in your desire to improve your decision-making process and leadership in school? And lastly, what does your gut tell you to do next? And why is that so? Thank you so much. We hope that we can maximize our Q&A after this. Madamo gid nga salamat.